Board here with us, and for you guys to learn probably all about something new, perhaps two new things tonight. She combines two different very cool modalities that I'll learn about in a second, but it's Qigong and focused vibrational energy with tuning forks. And combining those two practices, the movement with the moving of the energy, is what she's going to tell us more about tonight. She's been doing it for several years, practicing it personally and then also more professionally. So please join me in welcoming Frances up here to the stage. More about it.
All right. Well, I'm loud anyway. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight. I'm going to talk about some weird things tonight, but what's new, right? So, Qigong. Anybody here of Qigong? Here? Anybody? Okay. Oh, wow. I like that. This is cool. This is cool. So in the audience, I have a couple friends tonight. I have one person who's actually in my Qigong program now, and another person graduated from my Qigong program. And I'm glad they're here to support me tonight because they know all about the practice. It's basically moving meditation. Now I have another question to ask you. Who in here has a monkey brain?
Everybody!
That means the mind is always going. You go to sleep, the mind is always going. You have little tasks to do, but the tasks turn into big tasks and then other tasks. And then it just never calms down. That's called an overactive mind, or I like to call it a monkey brain. Or ADHD, right? We've got all these labels. Really, it's not anything. It's just, you know, you're either really intelligent or really excited and curious about everything, and you were born that way. Well, Qigong really helps with that because it's a moving meditation. Slowing down, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys a book to read tonight because I was looking at some books the other day and I was thinking, let's find a simple book, because I always like to kind of not always recommend the same book. So at the end of this presentation, that I brought a PowerPoint slide that we're just gonna throw in the garbage right now, and we're just gonna freestyle here. But so I'm going to recommend that book at the end because it's a short book, but it's very knowledgeable, and it's from one of the original Qigong masters who's been around for like 20 years, really cool guy. Lee Holden, you heard of him? If you haven't, he's all over YouTube, like thousands and thousands of videos. And so another practice I'm going to talk about tonight is called tuning fork sound therapy. It's a targeted sound therapy. It's not like going to a sound bath. It's not, I mean, I do use 29 different instruments on the body, but it's literally working on the electromagnetic field of the body, which is 6 feet from your body. This beautiful layers of different auras around your body that controls everything from your ancestry to your mental body, your physical body, your etheric body. It's so beautiful. I'm not going into the big science on it tonight, just basics to give you an idea of it. When I first learned about Qigong, I want to talk about this story because we all have a story, right? We all have a story of how we got introduced to something. And I want to bring up my brother because I'm missing him so much right now. He lives in Illinois. He used to be an MMA fighter, professional one here in Phoenix actually, and he moved back to Illinois. But he originally told me about psychedelics. He's my baby brother, 13 years younger than me. And I used to be like, not judging him, but I was like, dude, you're just doing too much psychedelics. I don't know what's going on with you. Like, it doesn't solve everything, you know? And I was thinking about him earlier today because I was like, you know, I think he was more in touch with himself in a different way than I was, and I needed to do the Qigong, the sound and stuff to open myself up to plant medicine. And we all have reasons why we open up to plant medicine, but I want to talk later about why Qigong and sound does open you up to having a balanced life and being able to use plant medicine to fulfill your life. It's really a big deal. So my life started out with a lot of trauma, a lot of sickness, crazy, chaotic life, like a lot of you. I know I'm not alone, I know that's true. And by the age of 19, I was very ill. And then working for corporate America in very high-powered jobs. I was psychic and I didn't know it. So I was closing deals, making tons of money every month, just very successful at the age of 25. I already had 2 kids, married for the second time, successful career in corporate America. And I knew that earring was gonna fall out.
You told us you're psychic.
Yeah, there you go. I knew it was. So anyway, all that going on, and so right before I actually had my children, I had a near-death experience. I went into cardiac arrest from an anaphylactic shock. And I didn't feel like I was there. I came back and I was like, who am I? Like, where was I born? I literally had to take a week to find out who I was again after that near-death experience. And then again in 2013, I had another near-death experience where I went to the White Tunnel, and let me tell you guys, this is the most hilarious story. When I died, I was dead for 3.5 minutes. Heart had stopped, was going to the White Tunnel. There was a song by Muse playing. Uprising.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the song?
Great song. Oh yeah.
So you gotta look it up.
Great song.
So the song Uprising, and I never thought about this later until I listened to the lyrics more close. It is just, they will not, like it's
Control.
a fight song. Yeah, they will not control us, and it just goes on and on and on. And it's funny how the subconscious will come up and give you lyrics to a song that is like the anthem of your life. And it did. What's up?
Had you heard the song before you had that experience, or was it a
No,
new
I
thing
had,
you
but not, it wasn't like a favorite song that I listened to very frequently. So the fact that my brain came up with that song and the lyrics, it was just wild. So I heard them saying, we've got her heart back, and I couldn't hear anything for a whole hour. I just came back to life, couldn't hear anything from the hour. I was leaving the medical plaza as I was leaving after having a procedure, and there were spirits coming at me from everywhere, flying through the air. There was angels, spirits. I was getting visited every night with these messages. I had been that way my whole life, but it was opened up more in the second near-death experience. So long story short, started going to all these doctors trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And then after 5 years of just really trying to find out what was wrong with me, they diagnosed me with 5 very serious, one of them terminal illnesses. Tell me I had 5 years to live. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, I know I'm sick, but I didn't know I was this sick. So I had been driving past this place for 7 years, thinking, I gotta stop there and see what that meditation thing's all about. But 7 years I procrastinated. Does this sound familiar to anybody, procrastination? Because I'm the queen of procrastination. So I stopped one day and I said, I'm gonna try this. And there's these people walking around making these silly movements, tapping their body, making weird sounds, just, it was really wild. I was like, these are some creepy, weird people. And my body just wanted it. So I just kept coming back. Never in my life have I stuck to going to something 3 times a week. I loved yoga and stuff like that, but I never went 3 times a week consistently. And that's where Qigong came in. And I was doing it 3 times a week consistently. And then all of a sudden, my body started healing itself. I changed my diet. I instantly changed. I had a lot of emotional releases. I found out that, my body was deep in trauma. I just went through a really big growth period of doing the practice of Qigong. So what's the difference, let's say, between Qigong and yoga? Does anybody know the difference between it? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, in yoga, it depends what kind of yoga, but in most yogas,
Yeah.
you get into a stationary position and you hold it for a period of time.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a flow,
Right.
which is more like Qigong,
Yeah.
but in Qigong, there's always a focus on slow movements.
Right.
It's almost like you're doing a martial arts, but you're really, really focused on every step of the way.
Yes.
And usually, the movements are associated with an eye movement. So it's breath work, eye movement, as well as physical movement.
I've never heard anyone say the eye movement thing, but you are correct. That's not something I really highlight, but I do notice that when people are practicing. So Qigong originated with Kung Fu martial arts. They were fighting in ancient China, and they realized that certain movements they were doing, to slow down and kind of, seize up their adversary, they were turning into healing movements. And then, it's a long, there's like a book you can read on that. But it's very ancient practice. It's been around thousands of years, and then they created Tai Chi and then Qigong. And basically, the slow movement isn't just about moving slow. It's very tied to the body, mind, and spirit, specifically to the organs, specifically to the season, of the year that we're in. We're in spring right now, so I'm gonna give you an example. That would tie to the liver. The liver represents our gallbladder channel, our spleen, and the element of wood. So that would be, our liver would hold on to things like anger, resentment, frustration. So when we tap this area or move parts of our body to move that channel, we're getting rid of that built up anger, resentment, and frustration. So I was taught under two different modalities. It's called the Tao, T-A-O, and the Dao, D-A-O. And they're very similar in practice. Dao goes into animal forms and a lot more strenuous forms. Tao goes into more Qi meditation, very, very connected to nature. And this practice is completely amazing, good for males or females, really good for people who have tried to meditate and they can't meditate. It's amazing for those kinds of people, okay? And let's go more into the topic of sound now. Of course, Qigong is one of my passions. But sound with tuning forks. Anybody ever get tuning forks done on them? Ooh, I love it. We have more people, yay! So with tuning forks, it's something that you will see like a naturopathic doctor, a chiropractor. They will use that on parts of the body to release something like with a weighted fork. I think that's the most knowledgeable fork people have seen, with the little weights at the end of it. And then you hold it on the body and you release the body in certain points. I personally use both weighted and unweighted forks. And I work a lot in the field. So let's say this Hector gentleman here, knowledgeable about yoga and Qigong, I would go around his field as he was laying on the table. I would be clearing out his fields with different sounds in a very specific way for his body. I am a medical intuitive, and many of you are too. But since I've had these near-death experiences, I can literally look at his body or someone else's body and see organs. I can see movement, I can see poisons, I can see all kinds of things in their body. So it helps me when I'm in the fields, not just do a tuning fork treatment on someone, but sit there and clear out those fields for them and help them raise their frequency. And that's what it's about, right? Raising our frequency. So who in here knows about frequencies? Just frequencies in general. Anybody want to share really what they feel about frequencies and what it means to them? Anyone? It's okay. Matt.
It's like it can help calibrate you. It can actually help change your mood.
Right. Go ahead. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, my view is everything's frequency.
Yes.
Everything's vibration.
And
That's what it is.
Frequency.
That's
well,
what
the
frequency
beginning of
is.
creation was created by sound, and then everything comes from that. Absolutely, we all, I don't know if you've all seen the TikTok or the stories about how, I put my love into this drink here, and this drink is different from a drink that just got poured and nothing got put into it. Yeah, that's frequency. So we all are stuck in some sad frequencies a lot, just by being around other people that are sad, just by walking into Walmart. You ever walk into Walmart?
Oh,
No.
Neither do I.
I don't.
I walk in.
I plan it out strategically.
I teach people how to navigate if you have to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't choose to go to
Right.
Walmart. Yeah.
I go to Target.
Target's different, right?
No, it is.
Target.
It's a better vibration.
That's right. But no, it's I'm making a joke about it, but really, everything is frequency. And some of us just had lived a life of such sadness and just down, depressive things. And we have big ups, big downs. And when we're really balanced in our frequencies, we can be the same way all the time. I didn't know that you could actually go through life, have crazy things happen to you, and you still feel the same. And I don't mean numbed out. I mean just balanced. Like you feel like you can be happy and sad and then work through those feelings and then be really in the middle all the time and not have to feel chaotic. That's what taking these two modalities and mixing them together does. I don't know of anybody else doing it right now. If I meet them, I'll be excited because I really think I've created something unique by combining these two modalities together. And then the big winner has been being able to introduce plants into this. So I would have never known unless I did plant ceremonies that I had 5 Native American tribes in me, like right in my ancestry, and not back in my ancestry, in my current ancestry. And I wondered how I was getting all these abilities to do these shamanic things. I do not call myself a shaman, but I was doing these shamanic practices. And I found out through plant ceremony and then through a blood test that I had these 5 Native American tribes in me. So I think that sometimes we have to get to a balanced state before we even open up things further, right? I have my practitioners here in the room, they understand this very much. We have to be in a receiving state, okay? And I think that's why these 2 modalities mixed together are so wonderful for that, because when you're doing any kind of bodywork practice or practice at all, you're going to feel your body releasing sadness, and you're going to feel anxiety, and you're not going to know how to handle those things.
Which are the 2 things?
Qigong and sound, targeted sound.
Which you were talking about with the frequencies, with the tuning fork.
Yeah, that's tuning fork is called targeted sound therapy, which is different than just a sound bath or just listening to tunes here. So yes, these 2 modalities are so fun together. So I've been running these free classes every Thursday night. I just changed it to Tuesday night. And people get on there for Qigong for sleep. A lot of people suffer from insomnia. Anybody suffer from insomnia in here? A few. So basically, insomnia can be debilitating, because if you're not recovering at night, and then you gotta go to work, and then you gotta function, it's almost impossible, because you're not getting that restorative sleep. So I do a Qigong for sleep program, which I literally knock myself out when I'm teaching these classes. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta turn it off. I gotta go to bed. Like, I'm so tired. And I've had insomnia all my life. So this is something that's really helped me and helped others, insomniacs. So I do the Qigong for sleep program. But I will tell you, even if you don't work with me, you all can go on YouTube. You can go to subscriptions and start working on this, especially if you're someone who, and I will say this is crazy, do you think that somebody who works out is fit? It's just a question I have for the audience.
Depends.
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, 75% of my clients will come in and say, I just hiked Mount Everest. Of course, I'm exaggerating. But, and I just did this, and I worked out at the gym 2.5 hours yesterday. Okay, great. Your physical body is probably overwhelming the rest of your body. It's overwhelming your heart, overwhelming your brain, because it's not all balanced. So what Qigong will do with someone who is incredibly fit, athletes included, because I've had athletes, is they'll come in, they'll do the Qigong, and they'll be like breaking a sweat and mentally cannot do the practice because they have neglected their calmness and moving meditation and things that slow down the brain and bring everything in balance. It's just amazing to me how our energy chi in the body really rules us. So this is why I always recommend people do Tai Chi or Qigong before they do get deep into psychedelics in a healthy ceremonial way, because when you get out of these plant ceremonies and you're into what's called integration process, the body can really not go back in a balanced state because it wasn't prepared for what happened to it. So that's why I highly recommend doing this practice, even if you're doing it for a couple weeks after your plant ceremony, and it will really bring you back in balance. So I'm just gonna leave it there and say, if you guys have any questions for me, I can answer those for you guys right now. Anybody have any questions? Yeah.
I used to do yoga and Qigong, and I had a series of accidents.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I've never really been able to go back. And every time I go back, I always have some really big physical impediment that forces me to stop. Like, my body will snap. And it'll seem like I'm doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then out of nowhere, I'll wake up the next day and I'll be like in knots.
Yes, so I think that Phaedra is behind you would be able to tell you a lot about this. So this is nervous system regulation, central nervous system issues. So anytime we've had a car accident, or it could be the simplest thing that causes us trauma, like where my trauma is so big and somebody else's is so small, we can have the same reaction. It's different bodies. So it's not physical with you, it's 100% your vagus nerve. Has anybody heard about what a vagus nerve is? Vagus nerve in your body. And so when that gets all wobbly, gets wobbly back there, and it never gets reset, then anything that you could do before you can't do now until you regulate that nerve. So I recommend looking up vagus nerve resets for yourself and doing that practice for at least minimum of 6 months. You can do it on your own, or you can hire someone to help you with that. And
Is that part of Qigong?
yeah, we do a million different practices for vagus nerve resets.
So if I wanted to research it, I would be putting in vagus nerve reset Qigong.
You could do that, or you could just do I would start out with vagus nerve reset first, and then do the vagus nerve reset Qigong, because it'll be easier for you to do once you do a couple of resets.
Okay.
Yep. Gary?
Can you give us a demonstration of the movement?
Yeah, I was gonna do that for you, I almost forgot. So a really cool way to do this, speaking of the whole Walmart debacle, we can do what's called syncing your chi. I'm gonna put this mic down and show you syncing the chi, and we all can do it together, standing up or sitting down. I really don't care. You're gonna sync your chi whether you're sitting or standing. And with syncing your chi, what you're doing is you're clearing your being, and so it's only your energy here and not everybody else's energy. So for years, I couldn't be around groups of people like this. I would literally, my body would heat up, I would turn red, I would get sick to my stomach, and I'd have to leave because I'm such an empathic person. I feel everyone's energy around me. And now I've learned to contain that through this practice, and syncing my chi is my favorite thing to do. I've sent millions of videos to people going through crises. I'm doing employee improvement performance on that right now too. So there's a lot of executives out there who have terrible stage fright with public speaking, that kind of thing, and they're able to do this before they get on the stage. So let's do this together, let's have fun with it. If you guys were drinking alcohol, I would be like, this is not gonna do nothing for you, but you're not, so here we go.
Yo, take the other one off. Oh, shit. It's huge, man.
Right down.
All right, this is so fun. And you guys are sitting, you can totally do it. Oh, thanks. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your feet shoulder width apart. And I know it's hard because we're on concrete, but kind of visualize there's like soil under your toes and you're grabbing onto the soil with your toes and you're really feeling grounded. You can even bounce a little bit with your feet shoulder width apart. And now we're gonna visualize little roots tied like strings to your fingertips, okay? And you're gonna hold your hands like this. And let me explain to you one other neutral stance for spring. It's called wuji. Wuji is when your hands are like this, and it means you're in a neutral position. That's what Chinese wuji means, neutral. It means you're not in a high frequency or low frequency, you're just right in the middle. You're not quite into acceptance, but you're just in a neutrality. And it's a good one to do between flow movements. So what we're gonna do now is you can feel the tips of your fingers like they're connected to the roots under the earth. And you're gonna slowly pull up those strings. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And now you're gonna flip your hands. You're gonna gather the energy above your head. And imagine there's this big white light or golden light going through your chakras. One by one, you're gonna go boom, 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 all the way through the chakras. All the way to the heart space. And then you're gonna do a half bow. And really feel your legs stretch in that meridian. A lot of meridian stretching with Qigong. Okay. Now there's a very specific thing I teach when you join my Qigong program, which is only $57 a month. And you get a full practice for every single day of the month and a one-on-one with me for that. I make it affordable for everyone because I love doing this. It's not my moneymaker, it's my rewarding life fulfillment to teach everyone Qigong, is I will teach you a bowing practice that uses syncing your chi and has you pray every night and bring in anything you want through gratitude. And it's a beautiful bowing practice that I was taught for 12 weeks, got up at 5 in the morning and did an hour every morning, and I love it so much. So if you ever want to do that with me, you can. Let's do that 2 more times. Everything is 3s with Qigong. You do everything in 3s. So, pulling that up slowly, flipping the hands, gathering the cosmic energy, pulling it through your body, remembering, visualizing the light, clearing your space, going to the heart space, half bow, really feeling the legs stretch out and come back. And then we're going to do it again, because we have to do our number 3. Pulling it up, flipping our hands, pulling it straight through the body, into the heart space, and then bowing. And then what I want you to do for extra measure, because Qigong is also about connecting to others as much as connecting with yourselves, I want you to bow to your partner. Bow to your partner, everybody next to you. I want you to bow to everyone. And connect with each other's eyes when you do that, because we are doing so much technology these days, and it just takes the personalization out of it. We are all one together, and this helps us connect through Qigong. So, does that feel good? Yeah.
You open for a few more questions?
Yeah. You like it?
So I have a question. So
Yeah.
you said the movements and the meditation are together. So is the goal then you're using specific movements for specific problems?
I love that question, because I forgot a big key point. I wanted to talk about the 6 areas of Qigong, okay? This is my passion, Qigong. Even though I teach these tuning fork sound clinics to practitioners all over the nation, and I love sound therapy, my real passion is Qigong because it did change my life. There's 6 areas, okay? The first area is called meridian stretching. Anybody know what meridians are?
I know there's a prime
There's some
one.
knowledgeable people back here, I swear. Okay, so meridians are like these branches of our tree body, right? Our regular body, and we have all these branches that come out and connect to our organs and our limbs. And when those get stagnant or blocked, our chi isn't moving and things get fucked up. There's no other nice way to say it, it just gets fucked up. So the way you get them unfucked up is by stretching and moving your body in very particular ways. And then after you get done stretching for a period of time, your body gets used to it and comfortable with the stretching. That's when you go through standing meditations and you do more stricter, like connecting to your body meditation. So this is a big one. Like here, you just stand here and you do that for 30 minutes. Okay, you work up to 30 minutes. There's another one that's sleeping tiger. You lay on the floor, you put your legs up and you put your hands and you channel energy through your hands, and you do that one for 30 minutes. You start out with 5, but you work up to 30. That's meridian stretching. Then number 2 is tapping. So I'm telling you, all my neurodivergent people, they hate this. When I get them as a client, they're like, I hate the tapping. I'm like, I know you do. That means you need it more. Keep tapping. Tap that shit out, right? Yeah.
So as someone diagnosed with autism and
Right.
ADHD,
Yeah.
and all of those things, tapping is one of the quickest things to pull me out of a panic attack or like anything.
Wonderful.
I resisted it so fucking hard.
I bet you
But
did.
Once I did, I was like, oh, like I'm a whole new person. Just like by the time like I started here, I do the tapping and I go all the way down to the progression.
Good.
I pair with the breath work also.
Yes.
And now I do the kind of box breathing as well as I do.
Absolutely. The box breathing is a big thing with Qigong. Thank you for saying that. I really, that's, and when I teach this to people, we do it for 18 months, like one-on-one. We're really into it. And they say at the end, I think all my life I've been doing some of these movements, like at night before I go to bed or I'm at the store, I was doing some of these movements already. It's very, emotionally and body intelligent. So I love that you shared that. That's really cool. The tapping, and then there's strengthening and accumulating. That's the third and fourth.
Can you explain tapping?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I don't want to do tapping tonight because that's kind of stimulating and you might not go to sleep. But you're going to be tapping on your chakras, and especially this one where you're tapping your solar plexus to release emotions. So if you do this for 5 minutes to 10 minutes, you might start crying if you do it for the first time because your body won't have a choice. You won't be able to hold the emotions in. This is your solar plexus right here. And tapping the body, what it does is it releases those stagnant spots in the meridian systems. That's exactly what the purpose is. And there's EFT tapping. There's all these different types of tapping, but they all go back to Qigong as the origination. Okay? We tap channels on our body to release, let's say, stagnant qi in our kidneys, stagnant qi in our lower dantian. That brings us to the main concepts of Qigong. It works on the upper dantian, middle dantian, and lower dantian. Everything specifically focused on the lower dantian, which is our gut instinct or our intuition or our digestion. Remember, your gut is your brain, that kind of thing. It's all focused in the lower dantian. So accumulating and strengthening is the third and fourth area of Qigong. And that's where we're doing the things like I told you, where you're laying on the floor, you're gathering your energy, you're putting your feet up, and your ego's telling you, stop, 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 you can't do this. You can do it. It's just your ego telling you you can't. And you're going to accumulate energy, you're going to gather it in the lower dantian, and you're going to have energy all day when you didn't have energy all day because you're gathering the qi in areas of your body. So let's go to the fifth and sixth area of Qigong, which is breathing and meditation. So we're doing all 6 areas with Qigong every time we practice Qigong. So breathing is, there's like 10 different breathing techniques. So whether there's all these other modalities that have, let's say, 1 or 2 breathing techniques. Qigong goes very deep. They do lower dantian breathing. They do breathing where the back of your kidney turns into nostrils and you have a nose in the back. And you're pulling it in through your stomach, you're expanding your stomach. There's just so many different types of breathing. And when you're first doing it, your body's going to resist it. It will resist it, like she said. But then you're in this euphoric sense of balance, harmony. It's the bomb. It's great. It is. Thanks for bringing that up, Gary. That helps me go through all the areas of Qigong. Adria?
I like how you're tying it in with psychedelics. Can you give a little input about when you're going into your ceremony, how this can help prep the body
Yes.
for a trip?
Yes,
And
actually.
what I'm thinking, because I did Aya and I flew out, and I think after talking and hearing you, I'm like, I really haven't been the same.
Oh yeah, it happens to so many people. So actually, can I say, okay. Brooke and I were preparing for a big sacred plant ceremony retreat we have coming up in 3 weeks now in Sedona, and we were tripping. And I was doing body work on her. I didn't plan that, but we just did. And we had so much somatic releasing. And this is, her and I work on our bodies all the time. We are layers of an onion, just peeling back those layers. And so even if you've done Qigong for 10 or 20 years, you'll just have a day or a month where you're releasing all the stuff you thought you worked through. And the only way you can get in that spot where you're constantly healing is if you do the maintenance work. That's why I will never stop doing Qigong. So the psychedelics thing, it really should be done with people who know how to balance their body and mind and spirit. Now, there are some people who can do it without doing that, and they're fine. 5% of the population, not everybody else is fine. I come across it all the time. I've come across people who just don't know how to manage their chi. I never knew how to manage my chi, so it takes one to know one, right? So that helps us prepare with psychedelics by working through it in layers and not all at once. That's how psychedelics, Qigong, and sound work so well together. Were you guys here like a couple months ago when they were talking about how sound during psychedelics is so important, like the playlist and all that? Were you guys here? Some of you were here?
2 weeks ago.
Was it? Well, it's, the timeline makes it feel like 2 weeks ago. But, so when they were talking about that, it was fascinating to me because I literally am big on the playlist and the sounds and the tuning forks during the ceremony because you can intuitively feel what stage you're going to be in next just by that power of sound. And when you don't have the sound there, you can still have a good, release and a good experience. But having that sound there to guide you is like one of the most powerful tools in the whole process. Thank you for the question, Phaedra. I hope I answered it.
You brought up another one though. It's like, what does it feel like to have stuck chi? Like, is a lot of the stuff all over the place out these days?
Yes.
With all the stress, and like,
Yes.
I feel like the lid's like gonna pop off, or it's just too much pressure. But
High cortisol levels is a big thing. If you get urinary tract infections a lot, you have digestion problems. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Anxiety, depression. Anxiety is the fear of the future. Depression is focusing on the past. When you live in the present with Qigong practice, you don't feel either. You really don't. If you do get a little bout of it, you know how to clear it. So, yes, please.
Talked about some of this mental health stuff. Have any experience or have you seen any results with mood disorders or bipolar?
Yes.
Kind of schizophrenia?
Yes, that takes a lot longer process, but I love working with people on that. I have a lot of experience with that. My daughter was hospitalized with severe bipolar when she was 7 years old. She had a very high IQ. She was running the whole psycho ward, had people doing everything she wanted. They didn't know how I was handling her. Very intelligent, and now since age 13, she grew out of that, still struggles with anxiety, but is really doing well in life. And she was clinical. She was on severe meds because I didn't know better back then, and now she's flourishing. So the mood disorders get an enormous result from this because this is the fact, people. 99% of people that are diagnosed, and you can look this up and research holistically, I wouldn't look at it in a Western world way, but holistically, you can look up this fact that 72% of the people in jail right now are mentally ill. 99% of people who are diagnosed with a mental disorder are actually gifted people who don't know what to do with their gifts. This is a fact. And those who go through addiction problems are in the same category as those other two. They all have these gifts they don't know how to use, the chi they don't know how to harness and balance. It's all tied together. So wonderful for mood disorders. I will give you an example, actually. Look up Nick Lawfree. He's one of my teachers who has certified me. And he is he was trained under Lee Holden and a lot of other famous Qigong masters. His last name is spelled Loffree. He had severe bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, which is you can really never cure that. He has no symptoms of it now because of Qigong. And he's a well-known Qigong instructor, public speaker, leader in the industry, and he is a beautiful story. He was like 50 pounds overweight, was on 7 different terrible psych meds, lithium, everything, and now is on nothing. Yes.
What do you find is the most commonly reported benefit from people using Qigong, and conversely, what do people seem to struggle the most with when they're trying to practice Qigong regularly?
I want to talk about the struggle first because I've been talking all the positive things, because with anything there's a struggle, right? Habitual practice. You have to form a new habit, I think they say 45 days, at least 45 days to create a new habit. So people, when something's good for you, you don't want to do it sometimes. And some people get scared on how good it is for them and they stop the practice too soon, they're just not ready. I think that's the biggest struggle I see. Another struggle is people not knowing what to do with all the emotions that come out in their body. I think you could relate. Yeah, and you don't feel safe. So that's why it's good to have a practitioner and a guide and a toolbox full of things you can do to help those. That's the best thing to do to deal with the struggle. Now, the most positive thing I see with Qigong, there's so many things. Okay, so people get off their anxiety meds, they get off their depression meds, they lose weight without exercising by just getting rid of inflammation in their body and clearing out their chi. They lose tons of weight. Like I had one girl in 3 months, she wasn't trying to lose weight, she lost 15 pounds with no diet by just moving her body. People get stuck. I mostly have just 100% gifted people that I work with. And I see them from going stuck in life, chaotic life, abusive relationships, crazy things happening to them, to literally ultimate success and fulfillment. Every single person I've worked with, I see them do that. And when I say that, I mean the ones I've worked with who've stuck to the program. Because there are those people who fall out of it. And that's just gonna happen. It's just life, right? So, any more questions? Yeah. It's been fun.
Yeah, appreciate you coming up and
Do you have
sharing
like a
with us.
website or something?
I have a bunch of
Yeah,
flyers.
she's got some flyers we pass out there with more information.
You were gonna recommend a book.
Oh, and the book.
Yeah. Let me get it. I got it. I took a picture of it.
I'll take one of those. Okay, thank you.
Okay, the name of the book is Ready, Set, Slow by Lee Holden.
Ready, set, slow.
It's a really great book. Can I read a little quote for that real quick? Because I had,
Copyright, trademark.
you got it, you got it. Oops.
Ready, set, slow.
Yeah, by Lee Holden. This is when you're mad that you didn't bring your readers. Yeah, those two paragraphs.
So this first one's titled Quick Myth. In order to get what we want in life, we need to make it happen and use fast fell swoops of force to get there. Slow reality, this is from the book. Slowing down, relaxing, and feeling into the flow of the moment are the true keys to productivity and happiness.
Yeah, it's really cool, impactful.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, sounds like a good book to check out. I've definitely heard Lee Holden before, so.
I also have a sign-up sheet for events. Oh, can I talk about events real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sorry. I'm disorganized because I don't have my slides. So basically I have a bunch of events coming up in the Valley all the way through July, and I secured a secondary Scottsdale location and I have a Mesa location. I work with practitioners all over the Valley that are super, super gifted people, and they all do Qigong, by the way. One of the big events that's been very popular, it's been selling out every time, is called Visions and Vibrations. And it has to do with, I have a 36-year urologist who does an eye reading, and then you do this really high-powered sound bath after the eye reading. It's so spectacular. And then I have another event that I have going on. It's automatic writing. So I teach that and how to channel, because I'm a direct channel. Your automatic writing. This could be for a business idea. It doesn't have to be spiritual, but it's definitely spiritual. How to get out of the left brain into the right brain. Also, I have some plant ceremonies coming up. Brooke and I have another one coming up in October in Sedona for women only. It's called Sacred Goddess Retreat. And just wanted to share those events. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Appreciate that. So hopefully you guys learned something new tonight. Maybe you got excited or intrigued about Qigong or tuning forks or sound healing in general. I encourage you guys to check any of those out. They're always very supplementary and complementary to the plant medicine experience, I think, so highly recommend them. I've done Qigong myself before, just YouTube videos in the morning following it, and I found it to be really helpful. And in fact, actually, it's encouraged me to maybe pick that back up again, so thank you. As far as upcoming events, I'm gonna lean on Andrea, Gary, anyone else? Help me out, guys.
Karaoke Wednesday.
Karaoke on Wednesday here.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Right on.
Bring your singing voice.
Bring your singing
Bring
voice.
friends.
We're probably gonna do, we haven't pulled together yet, but we're probably gonna do a 420 event. That's this coming Sunday.